let's just recap our 3 reasons that we do or that we should know so far for our triangles. Right, so guys, remember I said this to you before, you should have a separate piece of paper somewhere where you are writing down only your reasons. So almost like a little cheat sheet for yourself with all of your geometry reasons, so that when it comes to questions like this, when it comes to you studying for your exams and for your tests, you've got that information there. And so as you practice, as you practice, these reasons and the application of these reasons just becomes like second nature to you. You don't even have to think about it because you've got the information there for you and you just are constantly using it. All right, but the 3 triangle reasons we know so far. The first one is the fact that our 3 angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees, and this is in any triangle. So in any triangle, if you add up the interior angles, you will always get 180 degrees. And our reason there is sum of angles in a triangle. The second reason that we learned is that an exterior angle of a triangle, so the angle outside our triangle, is equal to the opposite interior angles. So in our diagram here, that exterior angle A is equal to B plus C. And that reason is exterior angles of a triangle. The third reason that we did on Monday was the fact that if we have 2 equal sides, so essentially an isosceles triangle, the 2 angles that are then opposite those equal sides are then equal to each other. All right. And our reason there was, angles of equal sides. So when you are given that 2 sides are equal to each other, and remember, that was not a good highlighting job. Let me try that again. When you are given that 2 sides are equal to each other, and we know that they are equal to each other because remember we get that tick mark or that line given to us on the sides, what we then know is that the 2 angles opposite, so this angle A and this angle B, are equal to each other. Those are the 3 triangle reasons that we've learned. All right, so that is what we need to be able to apply in terms of triangle geometry. And we're going to have a look at a couple examples now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait here in case anyone wants to take a screenshot of sort of like a summary of our triangle reasons that I have here. And then you're going to try a couple examples by yourselves. And guys, what's really important, I mean, every maths teacher says this and everyone says this about maths, is that you practice. So like Yolanda was saying earlier, when I give you these examples, you need to copy them down and you need to try them. When I mark them, you need to be marking them. It's the only way we learn to fix our mistakes, and it's the only way we learn the content efficiently and effectively. Right, so I hope we've got our screenshots of our reasons. Just want to, have a quick squiz here at what I had going on. Sometimes I question the way I organize my notes. It's just... All right, so guys, there are 4 questions here, okay, which seems like a lot, and it is, but there are 4 questions here. Using any of the reasons that you have learned in geometry, I want answers to these questions. All right, now it's going to be a bit complicated to put this on the chat. So what I would suggest you do is try it first. As you go along, if you have questions, obviously ask them on the chat. And if you're going to put answers on the chat, be specific. So 1x equals reason, 1y equals reason, etc., etc. Obviously, as I've now said, geometry, you need reasons. So we make a statement and we give a reason. That is a non-negotiable. You have to give reasons. I've told you this before, as you go up in your grades, often you get 1 mark for both the statement and the reason. And so unfortunately, what happens is if your reason is nonsense or if your statement is nonsense, you lose all of those marks. And we don't want to lose marks for silly reasons like that, especially for not knowing our reasons, because it's easy to get our reasons right. Alrighty, so that's what you're giving a try of. Remember, if you're going to give, I've got regrets. If you're going to give answers on the chart, please just make sure you number them accurately so that we know exactly what answer you're giving where. I am going to give you a decent amount of time to give this a try. So let's start with 5 minutes, see where you guys end up. And then we'll have a look in a second or two. Well, 5 minutes. So guys, remember your reasons. We just went through all the reasons that we know, and you can also use any of your straight line reasons as well. That's absolutely fine. I don't think many of you start with 3 and 4. So guys, maybe let's start with 1 and 2. Clearly my brain's a bit all over the place. It's fine. Let's start with 1 and 2. We'll go to 3 and 4 in a second. I'm going to give you 5 minutes for 1 and 2 still, and then we'll go to 3 and 4. So don't stress. I will put 3 and 4 up again, but let's just start with 1 and 2. Sometimes I get a bit excited about maths and then I just throw examples everywhere without realizing that I need to calm myself. I love that I can see everyone who's got cameras on actually writing it down, trying it by themselves in a book.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So guys, just remember those reasons. Remember as well, just because someone has used one reason, just because I'm going to use a reason, doesn't necessarily mean it's the only reason that is possible, especially as we start to get to questions where you've got multiple angles that you're trying to find. Often there's 2 or 3 ways or 2 or 3 reasons that could be given in order to get the answer. So just remember that if our reasons look different, it's not the end of the world, right? You'll probably still have the same answer. The reason just might be different, and that's okay. Stabbed myself with a pencil the other day, and now I've got this, like, you probably can't even see it, that little dot. That's my pencil stab. All right, guys, if you're struggling, remember, you are always welcome to draw on your diagrams. So in like a test or an exam, you can highlight on them, you can draw on them, you can fill in information as you find it on them. That's absolutely fine. All right. So if you're struggling, I would start by highlighting, do I have any equal sides? Do I have any parallel sides? What information is on my diagram that is useful to me that I can now use to get the answer that I want? All right, so Canva, exactly. It's the whole triangle. So Canva's asked in question 2, must the whole triangle equal 180? Yes, and remember, it's only the angles inside my triangle. But all 3 interior angles must equal 180 when I add them together. Absolutely. Well done. Hey guys, just on the chat, can I get a thumbs up if we are done, or thumbs down if we're still busy, just so that I can sort of see where we're at? Or even if you just react, thumbs up, thumbs down. So thumbs up if you're done, thumbs down if we're not quite done yet. It's okay if you're not. I just want to see more or less who's where. Cool, no problem. Give you another few minutes. Thank you those who let me know though. Remember guys, you also don't have to answer these questions in alphabetical order, so you don't have to start with X. Usually it's useful in order to get Y, but you don't have to. Some of them you will have to start with X just because otherwise you can't find Y or the next angle. But you don't have to, but generally it is quite useful. I see 1 or 2 done, that's fine. Still going to give everyone another minute or so. Jason, thank you for putting answers on the chat. And reasons, thank you. Okay, guys, remember when we go through these, you need to be marking. Alrighty, guys. It's okay if you're not done, but mark as I go along and fill in what you need to. So I'm going to start with 1, obviously. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to start by looking at our diagram and what information do we actually have. Well, I have been told that I've got equal sides here. I know I've got equal sides because of those lines on the sides. So they are equal to each other. Because they are equal to each other, I then know that the angles opposite are equal. So now I know that X is equal to 34 degrees because of angles op equal sides. Right, so X is done. I've got X, don't have to do anything else there. X is sorted. I'm going to put that on my diagram for myself because it might help me find Y. If we have a look at where Y is in between those 2 equal sides. It's not opposite one of them, so we can't say it's equal to anything, but we do know that Y plus 34 plus 34 is equal to 180. we know that if we add the 3 interior angles of my triangle, I must get 180 degrees. And that is because of sum of angles in triangle. I can now solve 34 plus 34 is 68. So I've got y plus 68 equals 180. I'm going to subtract 68 on both sides. So remember, I'm using my inverse operations. And I get that y is equal to 112 degrees. Yes, 112 degrees. Just double check my math there. All right, again, guys, remember to double check. 34 plus 34 is 68, plus 112 gives me 180. So I do get 180 degrees. Now, very careful, guys. A lot of you said x is equal to 34 because of angles on a straight line. Please remember, we cannot use that reason. Angles on a straight line can only be used as a reason when we have adjacent angles on a straight line. So if we had 2 angles on our straight line that are right next to each other, so remember there's that vertex where they all share a common vertex. If they are adjacent to each other, then we can use angles on a straight line. But if we have a straight line and we've got angles sort of far away from each other, if they're not right next to each other, there's not angles on a straight line. So angles on a straight line we can only use if they are next to or adjacent to each other. So unfortunately, if you used angles on a straight line, unfortunately, that is not correct. All right. So just bear that in mind. If we then have a look at number 2. So again, let's just see what we have. Again, we've been told that DE is equal to DF. So we've been given 2 equal sides. Again, I know that because of the lines on them. And so what that means is that I know that the angles opposite them are equal. I don't know where I was going with those lines. Let's try that again. Angles opposite them are equal. Right, now guys, please notice that we don't have an angle label for this angle that I've just colored in, but I do have letters. So I can still make the statement that it's equal. So the letters would be E, F, D for this angle. The angle, try again, angle E, F, D is equal to X. So this green angle I colored in is equal to X because of blue angles up equal sides. And because I know that information, I can now use angles in a triangle to work out X. So now I know that X plus 40 must be equal to 180, because if I add all angles inside my triangle, I must get 180. Sum of angles in triangle. X plus X is 2X, so I add those like terms together, plus 40 equals 180. We subtract 40 on both sides, remember inverse operations, giving me 2X equals 140. I now need to divide both sides by 2 to get X alone, and so X is equal to 70 degrees. What that means, guys, is if we go back up to our diagram, both of these angles here, EFD and X, are 70, because we already said that they're equal. So we know that they're both 70. Now to get Y, you've got 2 options. Option number 1 is you can use angles on a straight line because they're adjacent to each other. They're right next to each other. With that 70 you've just worked out, and you could get Y. Option number 2, which I'm going to use, is exterior angle. Right, so Y is an exterior angle to my triangle, which means it's equal to the sum of the 2 opposite interior angles. So Y is equal to 40 plus X, which we've just worked out to be 70. So 40 plus 70 because of exterior angle of triangle. And so Y is equal to 110 degrees. If you'd used angles on a straight line, you will get exactly the same answers. That's why I'm saying both of those reasons are perfectly valid. It's up to you which one you've used. But at the end of the day, we got x is equal to 70 and y is equal to 110. So I'm just going to do that so that you can take screenshots. I will make all 4 smaller later so that you can screenshot all of them. If anyone has any questions about those first 2, now's the time to raise your hand and ask me. Otherwise, I'm going to move over to the question 3 and 4 for you to try. How I got y again, a question 2. Okay, cool. So guys, question or angle y, there's 2 options. Either you can use angles on a straight line. So if we have a look at the blue here, x and y are angles on a straight line. So you could say 70 plus y must equal 180 because angles on a straight line add up to 180 and you will get 110. The option that I chose, and I chose it purely because we're doing triangle revision here, so I chose the triangle reason, was the fact that y is an exterior angle to my triangle, which means it's equal to the 2 opposite interior angles added together. So x, which we know is 70 plus 40, and 70 plus 40 is 110. So either you use exterior angle of a triangle or sum of angles on a straight line or angles on a straight line, and you got your answer of 110 degrees. Kamba, I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. Right, I hope we got screenshots. Again, I will make this all smaller later for you to get all the screenshots, but I'm going to move over to 3 and 4 now, which I want you to try. Excuse me. Same situation, guys. Answers, reason, I want them all. Let's try these ones. A little bit harder, these 2, so I'll give you a little bit of time here. Remember your reasons, remember your statements. Obviously, if you're feeling a bit stuck, start by seeing what information has the question given you. So what do you know? And how does what you know help you to get your unknown angles? So give those 2 a try. If you didn't get screenshots of the first 2, don't stress. When I'm done with these, I'll make it smaller so you can screenshot all 4 at the same time. Sorry, guys, I just needed to check something, but we're all sorted. Remember, guys, as you are doing this as well, if you have questions while you're doing it, please ask. Just pop it on the chat. I've got the chat open. I'll see what your question is, and I can help you. You can also direct message myself or Yolanda if you don't want to send it on the whole chat. That's fine as well. So we've got the chat open. We'll help you. Just let us know if you've got questions. Those reasons. Remember again, guys, sometimes it is useful to work alphabetically. And guys, what you need to remember is you need to write down everything. Okay, so almost treat geometry as you teaching someone for the first time. So what I mean by that is every single step that you take to get your answer, you need to write it down on your test paper or on your exam. So even if it doesn't result in the final answer immediately, if it's a step you took to get there, you have to write it down with a reason if there's a reason required. So write down everything.
Keep those answers coming, my people. Keep those answers coming. Give it a try, your best shots. Answers and reasons.
Please. I'll give you another minute or so. I do see some answers slowly trickling in. Ooh. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you another minute. Remember, as I go through them, you need to be marking, you need to be checking, you need to see if you agree with everything. And remember, I'll try and give you alternative reasons like I did earlier. But remember, there are often one or two different reasons that you can give for an answer. It's really cold all of this. Nice, Eva. I like the way we've set up our answer. Jason Azul, well done. Okay, guys, let's have a look. Right, so if I start with the first one, excuse me. based on what I know, I've got my two equal sides here. So what I know is that the angles opposite are equal. Now, I don't know the value of those angles, but I can now make a statement that I know that x is equal to y. And this is what I was saying earlier, guys. Even though this isn't a final answer, this is still helping me to get to where I need to be. So you have to write it down. Have to. My reason here is angles up equal sides. Now, because they're both the same, if you wanted to, you could make that an x, or you could make both of them y. At the end of the day, they're the same value. So we could use the same variable. And because we know that, we can now use, or we can now go the next step to work out what x is. Because now we know that x plus 50 must give us 180 degrees because of sum of angles in triangle. And now I can solve. So x plus x is 2x plus 50 equals 180. Subtract 50 on both sides. I get 2x is equal to 130. Divide both sides by 2. I get that x is equal to 65. And now because, and only because, we made the statement at the start, we can automatically say y is equal to 65 as well. So because I made sure, and because I was on top of it and made that statement right at the start, I've immediately on y's values. Now again, I'm going to fill that in on my diagram for myself in case it's useful to me. In order to find z, I've got quite a few options. Oh, two, not quite a few, two. Option number one is you can use angles on a straight line. So 65 plus z must equal 180. That will give you your answer. Again, because we're revising triangles, I'm going to use a triangle reason. Z is an exterior angle to the triangle, which means it's equal to the two opposite interior angles added together. So that means that Z is equal to 50 plus 65 degrees, exterior angle of triangle. Better move some stuff here, otherwise I'm going to run out of space. And so solving for Z, 50 plus 65 is 115 degrees. And so Z is 115. If you used angles on a straight line, you would have gotten exactly the same reason. And so both is absolutely fine. Right, again, I'll make this all smaller in a second or two for you to take screenshots. If we now have a look at question 4, guys, again, let's just establish what we have. We know we've got two equal sides because I've got the lines on them, so I know that they're equal. Apparently, I'm just going to do whatever I want here. All righty. Okay, there are two equal sides, got the end, which means that the two angles opposite are equal. Now, again, I don't have values here, but I can make a statement. I can say that I know 2x plus 10 is equal to 3x minus 20. They're angles opposite each other, or angles opposite equal sides, rather. And that is my reason. And now because I've set up that equation, I can go and solve for x. So inverse operations, I'm going to bring the 3x over. So 2x minus 3x, remember signs change, is equal to, I'm going to bring the 10 over. So minus 20 minus 10. 2x minus 3x is minus x. Minus 20 minus 10 is negative 30. I obviously don't want that negative, so I'm going to divide by negative 1 on both sides. And so I get that x is equal to positive 30 degrees. Okay, now guys, the trick here, in order for us to find y, I actually need to go and substitute that back into my angles. So if x is equal to 30, I've got 2 times 30 plus 10. 2 times 30 is 60, plus 10 is 70. Because we know they're equal, the other angle has to be equal to 70, but I'll just sub in to double check. 3 times 30 is 90. Minus 20 is 70. So they are in fact equal, so I'm good there. And now I can use my sum of angles in a triangle to find y. I know y plus 70 plus 70 is equal to 180. And my reason, sum of angles in triangle. Okay, unfortunately, in this question, there's not multiple reasons that we can use. It is just sum of angles in a triangle. 70 plus 70 is 140, so we can simplify that for ourselves. Inverse operations tells me to subtract 140 on both sides, and so y is equal to 40 degrees. So question 4, definitely a harder question. Definitely a question we would put in towards the end as your sort of more complex question, but one that is very much doable as long as you know your rules and as long as you know algebra. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those two smaller to start off with. If anyone has questions about question 3 or question 4, now's the time to raise your hand and ask. If not, you're taking screenshots. What I will do is I'll make this smaller for the first 4, just in case you need screenshots of all 4. Alrighty, so here are the 4 questions that you've just done, just in case you want to screenshot all 4 of them together. Right, guys, while we're waiting for screenshots to be taken, what I suggest is you just get up and have a little stretch. We're not going to take a brain break, but I do suggest you have a stretch, touch your toes. If you need to run to the bathroom, run to the bathroom. I'm going to carry on now, but just while we're waiting for everyone, excuse me. All right. So guys, what we're going to end off with is just this last reason, which, like I say, it's not important, it is, but it's not one that comes up a lot. So it's one we need to know, it's one we need to be aware of, but we don't ask a whole lot of questions on it. Just want to see what questions I have here. Okay, so this is actually our first, what we call converse reason. All right, so converse basically means the opposite or the other way around. And I said earlier that this thing's very much to angles of equal sides. So in angles of equal sides, oops, daisies, just go like this. So in angles of equal sides, so that reason that we already know, we are given a triangle where we have 2 equal sides. We can then say that those angles opposite those equal sides are equal. So that's the reason we know, we're comfortable with that. We've been using that in our examples. Now we're going to look at the converse reason. So what we now look at is the fact that if I'm given that 2 angles are equal to each other, so in my diagram down here, I know that they're equal because they've got those lines on them. So if I'm now given the equal angles, I can now go and say that the sides opposite them are equal in length. So it is a converse statement. Instead of me giving you the equal sides and you telling me the angles are equal, I'm now giving you the equal angles and you can now tell me that the sides are equal. Right, so just to say this all again, if you are given a triangle with 2 equal angles, you can then say that the 2 sides opposite the equal angles are also equal to each other. And now, guys, because it is a slightly different reasoning, a slightly different statement, it's not the same, our reason looks a bit different. So before it was angles opposite equal sides, I was saying that the angles are equal. Now I'm saying that the sides are equal. So my reason is now sides up equal angles. So again, it comes up. We don't use it as much as the other reasons, absolutely not, but it can come up and you need to be able to deal with it. So again, if you are given that you've got two equal angles in a triangle, you can then say the sides opposite are equal. And like I said, this is one of the first converse reasons that we're going to look at. As you move up in geometry, you deal with quite a few converse reasons. They're very helpful to prove certain things. When we get to Pythagoras next term, can't remember, when we get to Pythagoras next term, we're going to talk about converse of Pythagoras, and it helps us prove that a triangle is right angled. But this is the first of what we're going to chat about. Right, so I'm going to leave that up there. So a reason. And we're going to have a look at a basic example. Nice and easy, nothing too stressful. We're going to have a look. So again, you start with, what have you been given? I've been given two angles are equal. I know that those angles are equal because on the angles, I've got that line or that strike mark telling me that they're equal. Automatically, that means that the sides opposite them are equal in length. And so here I have to do absolutely no working out, nothing too stressful. I can immediately say what x is equal to. So my statement will be that x is equal to 2 centimeters because it's the sides opposite equal angles. And that is then my reason. Sides op equal angles. It's not angles op equal sides. I'm not saying that the angles are equal. I'm saying that the sides are equal. And that's it, right? Sometimes there might be some working out that we need to do, and we'll do a couple examples now in a second. But really, that is it. And because there's not a whole lot of working out to do, we, like I say, we don't often use it, but we can use it. And it's really important that we know this one. Okay, so I'm going to stop here for a second. If anyone has any questions, now is the time. Excuse me. Now is the time to ask me if you have any questions about this reason. Otherwise, I want to have a look at one or two more examples just to make sure we're all comfortable. I'm also going to wait here so you can screenshot that reason. Alrighty, so if we have a look at a question posed slightly differently, so if we have a look at question 2 here, let's first have a look at what we have. So in terms of the information I have on this diagram, I have been told that angle F is 35 degrees. I have also been told that angle E is 110 degrees. I have been told that the length or the side DE is equal to 1,7. And I have been told that the length EF is equal to X. Right now, nothing there is helping me to find X. But I know that if I go and work out this angle at D, so if I go and work out this angle here at D, if I can show that that is also equal to 35 degrees, then I've got sides opposite equal angles. But I first need to do that. And this is what I was saying earlier. Everything I do that leads me to my answer, I have to write down. Right, so let's set up our page. Whatever, doesn't matter if it's not straight. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work out angle D. So I know that angle D plus 35 degrees plus 110 degrees must give me 180 degrees, all because of sum of angles in triangle. Okay. 35 plus 110, I can add together. They're like terms. So that gives me plus 145 degrees is equal to 180. And I'll subtract 145 degrees on both sides. And so angle D is equal to 35. And now because I have shown that both angle D and angle E are equal, I can now go and make the statement that therefore X is equal to 1,7 centimeters because they are sides opposite equal angles. So because I proved that both D and F were 35 degrees, I could now say that those sides opposite them. And guys, that's really the only two ways I can ask you this question. I'll come back to this now. Either you get given that the angles are equal, either like this, or I literally tell you the angles are equal and you just tell me what the side is, or you need to go and work out your angles and then you can tell me that the sides are equal. That's it. All right. So like I say, this is not a hard reason. It's not a reason that comes up a lot, but it is a reason we need to be mindful of.